all going to Bug City for the night. The Presidents of the United States of America kicks off this hour of What in the World with Wilson. I'm Wilson. This is KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. We're everywhere. Just clickety-click, and you can listen to me talk about the craziest stories that happened in the world that make you go, what in the world? Question mark, exclamation point. And today's no different. I got stuff for you. I mean, as long as we got humans out there doing human stuff, I'm going to have stuff to talk about, I feel. And I'm looking forward to getting into this for y'all. It's a beautiful day here in Fargo. It almost makes me cry. It's so nice. I want to say it's spring, but we got a bunch of winter left for us to handle. And so if you live in the upper Midwest, get out, enjoy it, because it's nice. All right. This show's brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. 1,200 MIGs, locally grown hemp, whipped up into a fun tub with a lot of other fun stuff. It's for your outer body. Outer body butter. Black Cottage Alchemy. Thank you for sponsoring this show. Now, I used to do all the drugs. I might preface, minus bath salts and fentanyl. And now, thanks to the man upstairs, I do a zero. Well, coffee and, Percocets. But other than that, I'm straight. And I show him props. Every Sunday, 10 a.m., we do a recovery class. 11 a.m. worship. Come on through. And we're just going to keep on pushing here. Nonprofit Radio Free Fargo 95.9. KRFF is listener supported. That's you, bruh. Radio Free Fargo receives no government support, nor grant monies presently. And traditional advertising is not an option for nonprofits. We do have underwriting, which is different. Radio Free Fargo believes in trying to present the widest spectrum of music. If you believe in community radio and like to help, visit our website, radiofreefargo.org. Click on the donate button. As always, thank you for your support. Please tell others about Radio Free Fargo. And we're not done yet. Here we're going to talk about underwriting. Learn about underwriting opportunities with nonprofit Radio Free Fargo 95.9 KRFF-LP. Increase public visibility and create a positive image. Underwriting may increase website traffic and possibly offer tax deductions, and it is that time of year. To learn more, please message us at our website, www.radiofreefargo.org. Now, let me shout out our community partners at Fix It Forward Auto Care. With 4 Fargo, Moorhead, and West Fargo locations, they handle anything from routine maintenance to complex vehicle repairs. Fix It Forward focuses on quality, integrity, and giving back to the community. For more information, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, or at their website at fixitforwardautocare.com. Now, Google it, and they will take care of you. Thank you. Fix It Forward. And it's been nice seeing them grow over the years, that's for sure. Okay, well, this show is called What in the World, which means I've got stories that'll make you do that and say that and scratch it on your head. So let's get started, shall we? Humans to compete against humanoid robots at upcoming half marathon. Now how you going to win against them, bruh? China's capital city of Beijing is all set to host an interesting half marathon that will set thousands of human runners against dozens of bipedal robots. I guess that's two-legged? I don't know. What are we talking about? Pedals? That don't make sense. What are you, a bicycle? I don't know. Developed by some of the world's leading robotic companies. So you know Tesla going to be there, Boston Dynamics. And so they're going to humans and human-like robots. 12,000 people are expected to take part in the event, alongside dozens of robots. Participating robots will need to have a human-inspired appearance, be between 0.5 and 2 meters tall, so no giant mechs allowed. You know, this isn't whatever that one movie is. I can't think of it anymore. The winners, be they human or robot, will receive prize money depending on their performance. Well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think the robots are going to win just because? I don't know, I mean, I feel like the day they can beat us at running, we're going to have some issues. You can't outrun a bear, but he ain't up in the city, though. He ain't the server at the Chinese buffet like that robot. And he just seen you take extra, a couple extra chicken breasts off the buffet trying to squirrel them home. That ain't going to happen on a robot's watch. Man launches villain for hire service that lets clients pose as heroes. A Malaysian man has sparked controversy on social media by announcing an ingenious service where he rents himself out as the villain, and then he'll come and harass the client's partners, bully them, kind of come up on them, allowing the latter to pose as heroes by confronting him. Now, that's a great idea, but it sounds like a really good way to get yourself killed. I mean, it's like, wait a minute, we had a contract, remember? I was supposed to be able to break in here and you weren't going to shoot me. Remember, you're going to jump off the second stair and stranglehold me. What happened? Earlier this month, 28-year-old Shazali Sulaiman took Malaysian social media by storm by announcing his villain for hire service. And he'd let clients show off their masculinity and make a big impression on their partners or romantic crushes, which, again, in theory, it sounds great. After being told that his unkempt long hair and biker clothing make him look like a gang member, it's kind of funny how some people, all of a sudden the light bulb goes off. He's like, bing! Wait a minute, I do? Well, would you give me your money if I asked for it? It's like, you give these guys ideas and they'll start being bullies for hire. Okay. So he decided to start a service that relied on his physical appearance to make a profit. For a fee, clients can set up a time and place where he would show up to pick on their partner, thus giving them a chance to intervene and pose as a hero or knight in shining armor. But he doesn't really say how this thing plays out, though. How's it working? All right, we got another one here. These are all from OddityCentral.com. And this, I don't know what we're doing with this one, but anytime you see these words, Adam's apple cover craze, it's what in the world with Wilson, bruh, and that's what's going to happen. A female Chinese influencer has been urging men to wear Adam's apple covers to highlight gender inequality and promote women's rights. Zhu Miolin, better known as Ao Mao on Chinese social media, recently sparked a bizarre craze in her home country. She wants her male friends to wear Adam's apple covers to protect what she describes a sensitive area of the male body. Now, I'm not sure what she means, but man, you pop me in the Adam's apple, man, and I hate to say it, but I turn into a girl. Okay, that was a joke. But anyway, she describes a sensitive area of the male body in the same way that women wear bras to conceal their breasts. And again, I'm not sure if that makes sense, but you should Google it and see these awesome pictures. Proposed as a unique way to empower women and shine a light on gender equality in China, her initiative went viral and spurred the production and sale of Adam's apple covers. All right. Anyway, homeowner who refused to relocate now lives in the middle of a motorway. Chinese man who refused the government's generous offer to buy his property now finds himself living in the middle of said motorway. I suppose if you protect your boundaries, who cares? A few years ago, it'd be an easy way to get a cab, Uber gonna roll right up on you, They just look outside and wave. A few years ago, when Chinese authorities knocked on his door in Jingxi, a town southwest of Shanghai, they wanted to buy his house. Good money. Wang Ping decided to play hard to get because he wanted a better deal. Unfortunately, they're like, nah, forget it. They just build around his property. In the end, all other property owners in the area sold their land, leaving Hang isolated in the middle of a soon-to-be inaugurated highway. Now, again, you look at it, it's cool, He's got a way out. Looks great. Oh, man. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this is a good one, and then we'll move out of Oddity Central. Boy scolded for not doing homework, reports his father for drug use. Man, that sounds like a kid who wasn't spanked enough, you feel me? 10-year-old boy reprimanded by his father for not completing his homework took revenge on his parent by calling the police and telling them that his father was hiding forbidden drugs. And now I think my lucky stars, my child didn't do that, because I would imagine there were many times she felt like, taking revenge, And again, when your parents, you do your best, you don't always are your best. But I would always argue, like, if this, in fact, his son lost his father, he'd be a little bummed. He'd probably want to take that back. These knee-jerk kind of like, you made me do my homework, I want you to go to prison, just doesn't really equate. It's not equal. It's just not the same. The bizarre incident took place earlier this month in China's Yongning County after being severely scolded. Now, again, how severely? You know, did he burn his hair off? That guy goes to prison then. By his father for not completing his homework on time. 10-year-old boy stormed out of the house, went straight to a nearby store, asked if he could use the phone. Fifth grader dialed 110, which is China's 911, and asked to speak to the coppers, claiming he had proof his father was concealing poppy shells, considered an illegal drug, at home. And then he waited calmly for the police to arrive and let them home so they could conduct a search and confirm his story. Now, here's just a title I want to tell you. Man has 3-inch chopstick stuck behind eyeball. He doesn't notice it for 3 weeks. Why? Why not? Why not? Why not? You're listening to What in the World with Wilson. I'm Wilson. I sure am. I'll be Wilson all day and probably tomorrow as well. I'll be in next Thursday at 4 o'clock here at KRFF to give you one last What in the World before I go scooting off into the Amazon jungle. Due to be back the following week, so you'll get a break from me. I know a lot of you are crying about it, but you know, you guys are going to live. I'm going to play a tune now here because I have to. And this song, going out to my daughter in Dickinson. Here's Sinister Kid, the Black Keys. Yes, indeed. Sinister Kid, the Black Keys, here on 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. You're listening to What in the World with Wilson. I'm Wilson. I talk about crazy news stories. I'm the crazy news story guy. After me, Stinky Arts, a music mart. And then there's other stuff. Don't forget the other days. Don't do it. Okay, let's talk about some stuff here. This is from the New York Post. And just... Disabled man wins $6,000 from cops after being mistaken for bus masturbator. They've put my life in danger, he says. Okay. A man has won over $6,100 payout from police for being wrongly accused of masturbating at a woman. So I don't know how that, I don't want to think about it, on a London bus. Brent Naylor from Finsbury Park was arrested over the incident after he was identified following a Metropolitan Police appeal. But despite officers soon realizing he wasn't their man, the damage was done as neighbors saw him being nicked. And nicked is Londonese for snatched or arrested. 56-year-old says the police incompetence in arresting him for an indecent exposure he did not commit has made him the subject of verbal and physical attacks ever since. We'll cry out loud. Of course. Man, you don't want to be famous for that. Brent, who's disabled, has been assaulted, evicted from his home, and even banned from his favorite pub since being handcuffed by 6 officers at his front door. He said they pinned it all on me without actually investigating it all. He said it was disgusting. The description of the guy was 6 foot. I'm 5'8", and I can relate because I think 5'8". I could be 5'7" by now. I've been losing an inch every year. I'm the slimmest person alive. This guy was a fatty. Now I don't trust the police. Well, welcome to the club, bruh. They have put my life in danger. They are horrible people. Now, we can argue that, not all cops are bad, and they're not. I mean, there's millions of cases where you are certainly grateful there was a Mr. Policeman in your vicinity. That's just not a question. But in this case, he says they're horrible. They were. You go look, you grab a skinny man for a fat man crime? I mean, I'm no cop and I'm not smart, but I know the difference between the two. I think. Mr. Naylor's ordeal began after someone claimed he was the man in a witness appeal. The man, who's over 6 feet, described as being chubby, was reported as having got off in Islington. When police released a CCTV image, someone called up and gave Mr. Naylor's name. I mean, it's that simple. Despite looking nothing like the man, officers arrived unannounced and took him out in front of his neighbors. But even after being cleared of any wrongdoing, he says he's routinely heckled and threatened. Of course you are. Just before this Christmas, he was hospitalized after being struck over the head with what's believed to have been a bottle. I mean, what do you mean with what's to have believed? It's your head, bruh. You didn't say, you don't know? Whatever. What do you mean you believe it's a bottle? It's not nice getting called a nonce. Ooh, alleged or convicted sex offender. Here, of course, they're chomos. There, it's a nonce. Huh. You learned something here on What in the World with Wilson. I just know now that I probably should never use that word again. I've got to strike that from my memory. Okay? It's embarrassing. I know everyone around here. There's still people after me. I was assaulted. After he was reported, police researched Mr. Naylor, revealing he had short hair and was a lot thinner and shorter. But they still listed him as a viable suspect. All right? 6 police officers turned up at my doorstep. They said they had a search warrant. He's registered as disabled due to nail patella syndrome, which that means he's got pasta under his nails. No, I got no idea. He can't straighten his arms, I guess. That's nail patella. I mean, it sounds kind of like a spread you'd put on some toast. They knew I was disabled. Why handcuff me? Well, because you were, doing that stuff on the bus. It was only after he'd been in custody for more than 7 hours that a more senior officer looked at him and he goes, "No, that ain't the guy." How could the others think it was me? He was immediately released. However, his ordeal was far from over, as neighbors had witnessed his arrest. Mr. Naylor says following his arrest, his landlord served him with an eviction notice, and he was also later threatened by a gang of men who frog-marched him out of his favorite pub. Now, we're learning some stuff. Nonce means sex offender in England, and frog-marching you out of a favorite pub. Now, I think that's what? When you put your hands under those armpits, push their shoulders up, and they're what, like just their toes are like touching? I don't know what a frog march is. And I'd Google it, but I'm doing a radio show. So maybe somebody else can figure it out. After that, he said he was barred from the boozer. Man, we're learning so many fun words. Boozer means pub in Englandese. And not because staff thought he was guilty, but because they said they couldn't guarantee my safety. All right. Mr. Naylor admitted the injustice still upsets him, and Mr. Naylor is a guy who was accused of being a London train riding masturbator. All right. And he wasn't. And so now he's suffering all this, fallback. Why should I leave? He said. If they cause trouble, they should be barred. Why me? People followed me home, calling me a nonce, and I had done nothing wrong. And he said just 2 weeks ago he was cracked over his head with a bottle. He goes, I can't remember getting hit, just woke up in the hospital. Mr. Naylor later took legal action, hiring lawyers. Now there we go. There was a clear and obvious way of distinguishing him from the suspect such that he shouldn't have been arrested. Now, so they settled it out of court. They paid him $6,100 in damages as well as his legal costs, which I don't think, he says he still gets nightmares, and he worries his offending could escalate as a result of him getting away, the offender. Like, he didn't get caught. He's still out there just waving his thing around. He fears the flasher will graduate to rape or murder, all because the police didn't do their jobs properly. And this guy seems to be the voice of reason in London. So, there we go. Now, this is from Sky News. This title, Elephants Can't Pursue Release Because They're Not People, Court Rules. Okay. An animal rights group brought a lawsuit on behalf of 5 elephants from Cheyenne Mountain Zoo in Colorado Springs in a move that the zoo said abused court systems. Okay. So, the court has ruled that 5 elephants being held in a Colorado zoo do not have the right to pursue their release because, again, they're not human. An animal rights group brought a lawsuit on behalf of the elephants using a legal process known as habeas corpus, a writ of habeas corpus, Latin for you may have the body. What? is a legal maneuver which requires a court to examine the legality of a detention. The NRP, which took the case to court, has argued the elephants born in the wild have shown signs of brain damage because the zoo is essentially a prison for these smart and social creatures known to roam for miles a day. So what are we suggesting? Just let them roam around the Rocky Mountains? I can dig it. Their hope was the court would rule in their favor and pave the way for the mammals to be sent to an elephant sanctuary instead. But the zoo said moving the elephants and putting them whatever, unnecessary stress. They added they are not used to being in larger herds, and the elephants don't have the skills or desires to join one. The court concluded the majestic animals named Missy, Kimba, Lucky, Lulu, and Jumbo were not covered by the laws the rights groups was pointing to. The legal question here boils down to whether an elephant is a person, and it's not. So they got no standing here to bring a habeas corpus claim up in here. They're elephants. So it accused the NRP, which has previously attempted the same lawsuit with several other zoos, of abusing court systems. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's mixed opinions on that. I certainly don't think we should be mistreating elephants. And if they ain't getting what they need in a zoo, let them come here to Fargo. I mean, we got an open apartment in my building. Could fit it easily 1 or 2 trunks off an elephant. All right, here we got something wild for you. 19-year-old Georgia healthcare worker faces felony for twerking on disabled person's head. I'm going to read it again because it's just so stupid. A Georgia healthcare worker faces a felony charge after a viral TikTok showed her twerking on a disabled man. Now, what gets into people? I mean, initially I'm thinking, well, you got to be on bath salts or, you're huffing that glue. Man, we got a crazy name for you here. Lucrecia Carmasa Koyan of Loganville was charged with exploitation of a disabled person after authorities were alerted to the viral video. The footage, allegedly filmed and posted by Cayenne, shows her wearing scrubs and a stethoscope while dancing inappropriately over the seated individual. Now, I don't know what possesses you to do that. Again, you can Google it and see the picture. It's stinking wild. I hope she goes to prison forever. No, I'm just kidding. According to the Logan Police Department, they launched an investigation. Video gained widespread attention on social media on January 20. The police department was made aware, and so it's a felony. Trying to see what it is. Let's see. Was made aware of viral provocative manner. Let's see. Exploitation of a disabled person. It's a felony. Police Chief Dick Lowry condemned the act. Of course, who cannot condemn this act, bruh? When I watched it, disgusted is the only word I know. He's disabled, and then making the video. In the response, she responded with video claiming that the person whose head she was dancing on felt very aware and comfortable to her. I don't know. She's still in jail, and they're reviewing other victims may be involved. Police believe she worked in an in-home adult daycare program. Her licensing status is unclear. It's still an ongoing investigation. That's crazy. All right, so we got a story for you. And I know I say it's What in the World with Wilson. That's crazy news stories about people, but, dogs and goats and stuff been getting in here, too. Like, what did I talk about last week? A goat had an arrest warrant? You kidding me? Now we've got a misconduct report against China's first Corgi police dog. China's first Corgi police dog loses bonus after workplace misconduct. Now, we can assume it has to do with some sniffing or peeing. I don't know. Despite his misdemeanors. Oh, man. Fu Zai was honored for his exceptional service in 2024 as an explosive detection dog and received a Lunar New Year gift package including gourmet pet treats. And he's the first ever police dog, first ever Corgi. Fu Zai has become an internet sensation for both his achievements and his recent run of trouble. The small but determined canine officer lost his bonus. He was sleeping on the job. Oh, no. I mean, how can you thwart criminals when you're sleeping? And he urinated in his food bowl. Well, we're yanking all of his bonuses, that's for sure. Sparking widespread amusement and sympathy. According to domestic media, Corgi joined the Wolfgang Public Security Bureau in Shandong as a reserve explosives detection dog in January 2024. Despite his diminutive size, the now 18-month-old Fuzai quickly stood out for his exceptional talent in smelling bombs. Okay? Fuzai means lucky boy, graduated to become a fully qualified police dog. The story of Fuzai Bobbity Bop Bop. He has over 384,000 followers on TikTok and whatnot. So he was rewarded red flowers, treats, toys, bunch of stuff. However, the celebratory moment took a humorous turn when a police officer revealed his recent misbehavior, which included, again, falling asleep and peeing in his food bowl. As a playful punishment, his trees and toys were confiscated on camera, leaving only the red flower as a reminder of his achievements. So, let's see what this guy got. The police reassured the public in a follow-up video that Fuzai had not been left empty-pawed. To celebrate the Lunar New Year, the Corgi was given a lavish gift package. Well, what is in it? Including Pacific herring, pumpkin soup, dumplings, rabbit meatballs, ruff, and even a pet-friendly version of the dish Buddha's temptation of Fado Kwayang, a Chinese delicacy. Well, good. Good. I was hoping he'd still have a career in policing. Let's play another little ditty, and then we will get into the second half of this show. Here's Grind by Sun Squabby. 95.9. The Grind. Sun Squabby on Canna-Talk 95.9. What in the world with Wilson? That's what you're tapped into, and that's what we've been doing all hour. We still got time. I got more stuff for you. So have no fear. Wilson's here. Okay, company secretly films employees in restroom, posts them on wall of shame. Chinese companies come under fire for putting cameras in the bathroom to see which employees spend too much time on bathroom breaks and posting offenders on wall of shame. And I seen somewhere where you can buy mouse wigglers. So you can put your computer mouse on the wiggler, and it'll move it every once in a while. So a boss that's tracking you to make sure you're working looks like you're still doing stuff, and then you can be somewhere else doing whatever you do. Out getting a coffee for 3 hours. And your mouse will intermittently get jiggled, so it'll look like there's movement, and use. So this is kind of the same thing. But it's kind of gross, and they show pictures like they're literally in the bathroom with you. So that's no bueno. What else we got for you? All right. Meet the family with the world's widest tongue. How wide is it? That's what I want to know. Anyway, the Schlinkers of Syracuse, New York, their claim to fame is literally tongue-twisting. They're the holders of one, but two Guinness World Records for the world's widest tongues. Okay, when Brian Schlinker took his 14-year-old daughter to the library for a school project, he had no idea they were about to become world holders. 3.4 inches across. And Byron's tongue is as wide. So it's about as wide as an iPhone. So there you go. There you have it. So let's keep cruising, shall we? All right. What do we got here? What in the world with Wilson? Now, this is an interesting story, and I would say you should go check this out yourself. Christopher Knight, he's the last true hermit. It was 1986. Christopher Knight was 20 years old. He left his Massachusetts home. He drove to the woods in Maine and disappeared. For the next 27 years, home for Knight was a tent in an impenetrable forest. He spent decades living on the food and supplies he was able to steal from nearby cabins. He didn't have a conversation with another person for decades. Knight had his first conversation after his 2013 arrest for breaking into a closed summer camp that served special needs children. Okay, so basically he studied electronics. He was a college graduate. He was installing alarms in homes and vehicles. He took out a car loan, bought a Subaru. Okay? He just got sick of his life, sick of his job, and he was heading back to Maine, and he drove until gas ran out in his Subaru. And then he just left it. He had no map of the area, no planned destination. He carried a tent, but Knight had never spent the night in one. So Knight drifted in the woods and the surrounding areas. He walked for weeks. He stole food from gardens. Eventually, he was able to discover a location he considered to be the ideal site. It was in the middle of a forest, shielded by boulders. On either side of this location was a pond. It was also close to dozens of local summer cabins. And Knight didn't realize it, but he was only about 30 miles from his parents' home. All right? So he would be sneaking into these cabins to snatch food, whatever. All right? Winter in Maine can be cold, lows 25 below. During the winter, he would wake up during the coldest part of the night and pace around his camp to stay warm because he didn't use fires or nothing because he didn't want anybody to know. Knight wanted to avoid suspicion, so he took cold sponge baths, he shaved, cut his hair in case someone saw him. He didn't build smoky fires. He just used a little propane stove for cooking. He would transport stolen propane cylinders in canoes he took from empty camps. Knight would paddle along the shoreline in the early hours so a silhouette would not be seen on open water. Upon returning in canoe, he would put pine needles on it so it appeared that they had not been moved. In the summer and fall, he would stockpile supplies so he wouldn't have to leave his camp during the winter months because he thought footprints would reveal his location. So finally, people started noticing because, first of all, he would only steal things on weeknights. He knew how to disable surveillance cameras. He'd make sure nobody was home. He'd find a spare key, and then he'd put that key somewhere he could find it. He'd only take a few items. He never took significant amounts of property. He always took something that was more than one of something, all right, or old. And so here we got a little list of what he stole. Snowmobile suit, a spatula, coffee filters, Halloween candy, frozen chickens, coolers, steaks, attaboy, underwear. All right. So during the decades Knight was active, his actions were so stealthy, many residents believe the idea of a North Pond hermit was just a myth. He spent decades in the same area, didn't know the name of the pond until after he'd been arrested. He said he considered the moon to be the minute hand of his clock, and the seasons were its hour hand. That's crazy. So finally, this guy, he put cameras up, and they caught him. At the time of his arrest, Knight had potato chips, marshmallows, and other items. He had taken them from a commissary for camp for kids with special needs. Knight also had $395 in cash on him. He wanted to have in case of an emergency, but Knight never spent any of the cash, so he never stole it. It was just what he had. He said some of the bills were so old they had become moldy. I didn't even know that could happen. Anyway, he appeared before a judge, and the judge sentenced to spend 7 months in jail, and he'd already spent about all of it but a week. So they said, basically, you spend one more week, and you can be out. So that is a interesting story, and he wrote a book. And so, let's see. Michael Finkel wrote a book called The Stranger in the Woods. I would recommend reading it because that is an interesting story. I mean, people kind of thought he was just like, I don't know, like an animal. Some people thought he was an animal. Teen burglar foiled after leaving behind trail of dog poop footprints. You know, watch what you step in, bruh. So watch what you step in. Let's see. Would-be thief's attempted bank robbery foiled because he handed teller a note he couldn't read. Alleged car thief busted with help of dim-witted diary entry. Totally stole a car today. Killer mom Suzanne Smith wanted to go on Dancing with the Stars if she was paroled, and she's devastated it didn't work out. Okay, here we got a lowlife allegedly attempt to shoplift from Walmart during shop with a cop event. Boy. Agony of defeat, spelled with 2 E's. Sneaker thieves busted for stealing $311,000 worth of Air Jordans from Park Train. Let's see. What a meth. All right, we might have to look at this actual article. A drugged-up Kentucky driver hands over a bag of meth, fentanyl pills, and 3 Gs when cops ask for his ID. David Ratliff was passed out behind the wheel in a parking lot of a video store. What do you mean video store? What is this, 1991? When police arrived at the scene, asked the drugged-out Ratliff for his ID, he whipped out a baggie of meth and pills. And you look at this guy, he looks exactly like a guy that would do that. Boy, oh boy, he had some stuff. Police confirmed he had 9 grams of meth, several fentanyls, and over $3,000 in cash. And there you have it. Let's see here what we got. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one right here. Okay, are you ready for this? Michigan woman gets life for murder. All right, for murder. Witnessed by parrot. Martin Durham's ex-wife, Christina Keller, has said that after the slaying, the pet parrot, Bud, repeated, "Don't beep, shoot," in the guy's voice. And that's what's wild about mimickers, because it sounds just like the guy that was shot, you know? So it's like, because you would think, well, man, how credible is a stupid bird, you know? But when a bird can sound like somebody else, it's, you know. 46-year-old Martin was shot 5 times in May. Glenna Durham suffered a head wound. She tried to kill herself, but she survived. The ex-wife has said that after the slaying, the pet parrot kept repeating, "Don't stink and shoot," in Martin's voice, because she had taken ownership of the bird after the death. Glenna Durham's attorneys plans to appeal, and I don't know. I mean, I guess if you can provide reasonable doubt, you know, maybe. Okay, we got another one for you here. But first, programming on KRFF, LPFM, Radio Free Fargo 95.9 FM has been underwritten by Flatland Guitar and Luthery. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, and Paul Reed Smith guitars and other brands. They sell guitars on consignment. They take trade-ins and have a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar and Luthery on Facebook, or come by and visit them in person at their location at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. 1,200 mix of locally grown hemp whipped up into a fun tub of body butter. Do your outer body a solid with outer body butter. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring this show. Now, I used to do all the drugs, but thanks to the man upstairs, I don't. And I show him props every Sunday. 10 a.m. recovery, 11 a.m. worship, Antioch Church, 517 Main Avenue in Fargo. Now, I'm going to play another song for fun, and then we'll get you tucked in, and I'll get out of here. Here's a classic. Stand. R-E-M. Well, if you don't know where you're going and you don't know how your body's supposed to get you there, I recommend the manual by good old REM. Where would we be without him? I know I would know where my feet should go, but thankfully my head is there to turn me around. And again, I wouldn't even know how to get out of the studio here in a few minutes if it wasn't for that little instructional. So thank you, REM. KRFF 95.9, RadioFreeFargo.org. What in the world with Wilson? I'm Wilson. I'm about out the door, though. We got Stinky Arts Music Mar just itching to get in here and stink up the airwaves for a couple hours, and we're glad that he is. All right, well, I'm going to hit you with a couple more stories, and then I'm going to get out of here. Employee injured after toilet explodes inside Pittsburgh city government building. Now, again, Google it. It's wild. And it literally exploded. And you know, the joke is like, you know, don't eat Taco Bell if you don't want, you know, if you want to protect your toilet, you know. I just blew up the toilet in there, man. I just ate Little Caesars. Well, this really happened. Officials say there was a bizarre accident of a Pittsburgh government building. A toilet shattered and injured a city employee. It really blew up. They have a 65-year-old male with a gas to his leg after having a toilet explode, the 911 dispatch call said. Now, that's where you would be like, what in the world? Okay, we'll be right over. All right. Okay, the employee was injured when a plumbing fixture failed on the toilet. Man. Well, they say reports showing peeling paint, broken urinals, fountains with mold, and elevators that don't work. So they'll probably fix it now, right? I mean, you can't have exploding toilets in government buildings. So let's see what else we got going on for y'all. Let's see. Here we got one here. Okay, toddlers. Well, as soon as I... Okay, what do we got here? Toddlers played with dead grandpa's ashes and may have eaten them, shocked mom. She goes, the boys got to papa. Colorado mom was appalled after discovering that her sons might have eaten their grandfather's ashes. Detailed it in a TikTok video with 2.4 million views. The boys got papa, Monica Long exclaimed, while describing their alleged grandpa slam breakfast. The single mother of three claimed she had left her toddlers alone for a moment so she could use the bathroom. Coloradan was only there for several minutes, but when she returned, she saw that the two boys were playing in what looked like white dirt. During the 4 minutes she'd been gone, the two little rapscallions had managed to smear the suit all over their face, bodies, and floor. They got him, and they dumped him out all over my carpet. She didn't realize it was Papa, so she vacuumed him up. Papa was on a shelf, out of their reach, but they're climbers. They climbed their little way up and got a hold of him. They may have eaten some of him, too, because one of them had a cap in his mouth. Oh, man. They're just getting into everything these days, said Mom, who didn't know whether to laugh or cry. By contrast, Papa would have seen the humor, and that's all you need. TikTok commenters also saw the funny side, with one viewer exclaiming, I'm sorry, but the snort laugh I let out when you zoomed in on what's left of Papa. Papa's somewhere laughing his tail off, and he's not in ashes. And now, sprinkle that dust bucket somewhere lovely. All right, well, you guys have been great. I've been Wilson. Steal a little moniker statement from the infamous Jack White. I will get out of here now. Again, we got Stinky Arts Music Mart on deck. So I welcome you to stick around for that. I'll be in next Thursday before I go into the jungles of Ecuador, where I go every week. So I am going to get out of here, like I said. And I am going to jump out of here right now. I swear to God I'm doing it. Here's Remember to Breathe, Sturgill Simpson. Peace.